Alright guys, so today we're back with another FF7 Remake discussion video. This time around we're asking the question, are Vincent and Yuffie going to be optional in the remake? This is a question that's probably been around since the game got revealed, but obviously since the State of Play trailer came out and we know we're getting more E3, a lot of people are asking questions about the game, and this is another question that's popped up recently. It seems like a majority of people are leaning towards the mandatory side of things, as in they're not going to be optional, you're going to get them at some point throughout the story, which is kind of the side that I'm leaning towards. But with this being my favorite game of all time, and a game that I've been playing off and on throughout my entire life, there is a part of me that would like the characters to be optional, just like the original game. The most obvious thing from this is that it promotes different playthroughs. If it's anything like the original game, dialogue is different based on who's in your team of 3 at the time, and who's in the overall party, and with both of these characters being entirely optional, this can switch up dialogue a lot. These characters being optional alone promotes 4 different playthroughs of FF7 Remake, because you can do a playthrough with Vincent, with Yuffie, with both of them, and with neither of them, which to me sounds fantastic. And them being optional, of course, would just stick closer to the original game, where these characters were missable. If you did not know how to get Vincent or Yuffie, you could miss them on your playthrough. I just think it'd be great to have those segments of the story where the entire team meets up to discuss whatever's happening at the time, and Vincent or Yuffie being there or not being there to give their input. That all being said, they're most likely going to be mandatory characters. Final Fantasy VII is over 20 years old at this point. These two characters are widely known. They've been in most of the expanded universe, so they're almost not even optional characters anymore. I mean, Yuffie appears in Before Crisis, Crisis Core, Dirge of Cerberus, Advent Children, and On the Way to a Smile. She has a case of Yuffie for herself. And when it comes to Vincent, he was in Before Crisis, wasn't in Crisis Core to the best of my knowledge unless it was something very, very small. He was in Advent Children. Of course, he had his own damn game with Dirge of Cerberus, and he appeared in On the Way to a Smile, Case of Nanaki. So at this point, you could hardly consider either of these characters actually optional, since they've been in pretty much every single aspect of the FF7 universe. Not to mention they're both very popular characters. Yuffie's very popular in Japan. Vincent overall is just a popular character. Probably the third most popular character, because obviously Cloud and Sephiroth are going to be 1 and 2. Now, with a recent rumor, we heard that Yuffie would be optional to a certain point in the game, and then she'd be mandatory, which I think is a good middle ground. That way you can get her a little bit earlier if you want to, but she's not entirely missable. Now, when it comes to Vincent, I don't exactly know how you make him mandatory optional, because in the original FF7, you're never actually required to go into the Shinra Manor in the actual story. You do go to it in flashbacks, of course, but you're never actually required to set foot in there. That's actually a good discussion by itself, because if they're going to make Vincent a mandatory character in the remake, how are they going to incorporate the Shinra Manor into the actual story? Don't get me wrong, when I get to Nibelheim, I'm absolutely stepping in that building. I'm just curious how they're going to make it a part of the story where you have to go in there. Now, when it comes to this topic, I don't have a preference either way. I'm fine if they're mandatory or optional. It doesn't really matter to me. I did say previously that there is a part of me that would like them optional because it'd be very reminiscent of the original game, and for people that didn't play the original but might pick up the remake, could experience what a lot of us experienced back in the day where these characters were missable. Like, for instance, when I was growing up playing this game, I didn't have the internet or a walkthrough, so when it came to getting Vincent and Yuffie, I didn't know how to get them. I didn't know anything about getting the save combination, fighting lost number, going downstairs and talking to Vincent. And when it came to Yuffie, you're bound to fight her in the original game at some point, but you have to be very precise with what you say to her after the fight, and I didn't know what to do. But with that being said, of course, these two characters give you a lot more story, a lot more dialogue, and Vincent's got a really good, tragic backstory that's worth experiencing, and for that reason, I think that they're both going to be mandatory. But either way, this is a discussion video, so I pass it off to you guys in the comment section. What do you think? Do you think Vincent and Yuffie will be mandatory or optional? When it comes to E3, we don't know how much they're going to show us or what all they're going to show us, but if we actually see the rest of the cast, the rest of the characters, and we see Vincent and Yuffie in some gameplay or some trailers, odds are pretty likely that they are going to be mandatory. Of course, here at the end, we're throwing up a couple comments from the last video, which was a Fallout-related video, but it doesn't matter. Supporting the channel is supporting the channel, so I appreciate you guys. We're slowly crawling our way to 12,000. We just recently passed 11,300, so hopefully we get there soon. Either way, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and want to stay up to date with more Final Fantasy VII Remake content. Turn on my notifications. Follow me on Twitter at @TheDashingDavid. And my Discord. Links to my social networks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.
Give me forever for a while, give me forever for a while. Quit acting like a baby, or at least less like